World Refugee Day, as I said. And who are refugees? I'll let you to read. I'm not going to read these things with you, but persecution, of course, also will take place on the basis of gender and of sexual orientation. There's a great deal of that. You know that it's World Pride Day in Toronto going on, and so it's very appropriate that I mention that. United Nations World Refugee Day, well, it's every 20th, June the 20th. This year it was on Friday, and it's dedicated to raising awareness of the situation of refugees and uprooted people, displaced persons around the world, of which there are many millions. In fact, how many millions? Well, the figure you brought up there is 2012. But in fact, as the High Commissioner for Refugees, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, announced a couple of days ago, the figure for 2013 is now the highest since 2001, reaching a level of 51.2 million refugees in the world. It's a big number. That's the population of Spain, the population of South Africa, and the population of South Korea, Johnson. It's the highest, as I said, since 2001, and it's mainly as a result of the situation in Syria, something like 2.5 million refugees as a result of the war that's going on there. Problems with the Central African Republic and in southern Sudan. But most regrettably is the fact that in 2013 there were something like 25,300 applications just from children alone who had been separated from their parents or had no adults to look after them. So in this global world, wouldn't Christ see refugees as our neighbours? The Interchurch Refugee Group. Mission: sponsor government-approved refugees, support their integration into Canadian society, and facilitate their transition towards self-sufficiency. And that's what we're trying to do with all the families that we have brought into Canada since 1989. Ecumenical group, 4 churches, Annunciation, Roman Catholic Church of the Annunciation, Orleans United Church, Rothwell United Church, and of course our own church. We continue to seek support from our congregations. In the 25 years we've been supporting refugees, we've welcomed some 20 families from abroad with 89 family members. And of course what's important is that we make no distinction on the basis of faith. We've brought in Christians, we brought in Muslims, and we brought in Buddhists. We make no distinction in that respect. Our current family, Bernard and his family, are from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. You'll be hearing about their story. And we're also at this time providing ongoing settlement to an extended family of 8 from the Burma Karen state. Now the next slide is a collage of all the families, or not all the families, but some of the families, but not all now, that we brought in from Rwanda, Burma, Kosovo, Congo, Laos, Iraq. People that we have sponsored through the Interchurch Refugee Group to come to Canada. Now, who do we sponsor? Because this can be contentious. Because a lot of people claim to be refugees. We sponsor, the Interchurch Refugee Group sponsors only those refugees who have been recognised through the United Nations High Commission, which means that they're, generally speaking, overseas, that is out of Canada. They are in a country other than their home country and cannot, for various reasons, war, terror, fear of their life, sexual orientation, whatever the reason, they cannot return to their own country. These people, these refugees, are screened and accepted through our missions, through Canada's missions and embassies and visa posts overseas. How do they come to us? They come to us either through Canada Immigration. They send out lists every week of families who are seeking to come to Canada, the refugees, or they are named to us. They are identified to us by members of the various congregations. Now, the one thing is we do not sponsor what we call refugee claimants. These are people who appear at our borders, who have gone into a country of safe haven. We have a lot of Mexicans coming to our borders. These are not true refugees in the sense in which we understand them. They are refugee claimants. They are what we call economic refugees. They want a better life. We all want a better life, and we have no problem with their wanting a better life. It's just that they do not fall into the category of refugees that we sponsor through the IRG. What are our responsibilities? There's two basic responsibilities. There's the financial support, which is obviously the cost of food, rent, the biggest cost, utilities, day-to-day living, and they're given on the basis of need. We budget all that. We have to budget all this. And I can tell you some of the budgets are pretty lean. But we do as best we can with the money that we have. And settlement support, this assists our refugee families to become integrated into Canadian society and to get them to the point where they become self-sufficient. They can find work. They can find jobs. And I must say that in our case, our current refugee family, Bernard was able to find a job within 3 weeks of arriving here. So that's from my experience, that's marvellous. It's a record. Thank you, Bernard. So he's well on the way to becoming self-sufficient. Where the refugees are identified through the churches and so on, we generally enter into some sort of co-sponsorship arrangement with the family who wants us to bring the refugee family, generally the relatives, over. So we have a co-sponsorship arrangement. They provide a certain amount of the financial cost, or accommodation, or clothing, or whatever it is, and then we, through the Interchurch Refugee Group, find the rest. Financial considerations, well, it's about, these figures are very lean, 22,300 for a family of four. That's pretty tough going these days, especially as rents rise and so on, and the cost of food rises. It's pretty tough for a family to live on that. There are other types. You can get blended ones with the government where they'll pick up some of the costs. But generally speaking, the ones we are dealing with are full financial support. Where do we get our money? Well, we get it through fundraising, through the congregations, individual donations, for which I thank you. Many of you donated to the group, and I thank you for those donations. And most importantly, and certainly it's a consideration whenever I donate to a charity, is I want to see that every dollar, or almost every dollar, of the money that I give goes to the work of that charity. And that's what you at the IRG, and we are a registered charity. You can examine our books by going into the website, the CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency website. You can see that every cent that we have goes towards refugee sponsorship, to the refugee families, because we're all volunteers. We rely not only on financial donations, but donations of clothing. Some of you have been very, very helpful in that respect. Donations of furniture, and we do have a group in town called, Helping with Furniture, which receives furniture, and then as the refugees arrive, it issues it out to families on need. So here are some of the aspects that we cover. in terms of settlement support and financial support. And you have to remember that a lot of these families have spent years and years living in camps where the basics have not been available. There's been no running water. They've had to go and get their water. There's no dental care. When they arrived in Canada, a year or so ago, we found that one of our refugee older parents had to all sorts of dental work up to the extent of about $5,000, which we had to go out and get money for. In terms of housing, congregations have been very generous with household essentials, and of course there is that organisation called Helping with Furniture. Finances, we help them set up their finances here because it's very strange coming to a new land to see how the things work. We get bank accounts because we pay them by check, so that we have a control of the money that's going out and coming in. They set up our registered education savings plans for the children. We had to show them how to do that. And just one comment about this family. Kevin Gailey's, the husband was a construction worker, and that family got involved in the Habitat for Humanity process, and they now live in a Habitat for Humanity house. We help with education, language, employment. The two young ladies you see, they arrived about 7 years ago, couldn't speak a word of English, from a camp where their father had been murdered, and IRG sponsored the mother and three children, and here they are graduating from high school. And in terms of the Iraqi family, you see there, that's the first girl to graduate from her family. In terms of health, well, health support varies because refugees are refugees. They come, as I say, many of them have not had any basic medical treatment for years and years. So when they come to us, there's sometimes quite a lot of medical and dental work required. And not just medical and dental, but a lot of them are suffering who have been through war zones and have seen their relatives killed in front of them, are suffering from all forms of emotional trauma, which we have to deal with, and we have dealt with in the past. And we've had a couple of cases where it's become very, very difficult to deal with the refugee husband, particularly because of the trauma that he's experienced in his own country. However, on a brighter note, we assist the families to get involved in the community, in the recreation. We try and get them in to parties, picnics. It involves a lot of transportation, which is what we would hope that you might be able to help us with. The rules of the road, simply, hey, we drive on the right-hand side here, careful. Where to shop, and taking them shopping. So volunteers are an essential ingredient of the work that we do. Rides to soccer camps, picnics, outings, taking them swimming in the lakes, taking them out to do the things that your children, my children, have done. Steering committee, members from, at least one member from each church, and we also have a member from the community. And the activities, sponsorship, selection, stewardship, and so on. And how can you help? Well, there are lots of ways. You can help financially. There are forms outside on the table. I encourage you at the end to go and look at the table. And you can volunteer your time. Not a lot of time, 2 or 3 hours a week. Take them shopping, show them around. Assist in as many settlement activities as you can. We have to help these families to become self-sufficient and to become good Canadians. As the Archdiocese of Halifax said that no one's a refugee by choice, and they're not. They all want to go home. Where's their home? They have no home to go to. It's been destroyed. Let me tell you, have I got a couple more minutes? Where's Jeff? Am I okay for a couple more minutes? Okay. Just a short story. 51.2 million. How do we choose the one family? That's a lot of people. A lot of people just say, "Oh, that's what's the point?" It's like the story of the little boy on the beach. There'd been a big storm the night before. There were all starfish on the beach, and he was thousands and thousands of these things, and he was throwing them back one at a time. This gentleman went up to him and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "What's the point? There's millions of them. What are you trying to do? You can't do anything." And the little boy looked at him, and he picked up a starfish, flung it in the sea, and said, "I helped him, didn't I? For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me." Now I'm going to ask Bernard and Margaret if they're still ready to come up and just say a few words. Yvonne, are you going to speak French?
Yeah, I speak French.
Okay, he's going to speak French, and I'm going to try and translate. If I can't, we've got members in the audience, in the congregation. Wait, parle français. Come on, then, one of you come up and give us a hand. Yeah. Please.
Bonjour.
Who's going to do it? John, speak into the mic. Say good morning. Translate.
Is to translate. You can translate.
Is she going to translate? Just translate. He says you say bonjour.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Je suis très content de me retrouver au milieu de vous.
I'm very happy to be in the middle of all of you today.
C'était un long voyage.
It was a long journey.
C'est-à-dire que j'ai quitté mon pays à cause des troubles, les parents tués, les frères.
I left my country because of the problems and my parents who were killed.
Et puis, quand je suis arrivé aussi en Zambie, j'étais seul.
When I came to...
I fled my country, I was alone. Vous pouvez interpréter.
Yeah.
Vous pouvez interpréter.
What did you say?
Quand j'ai fui mon pays, j'étais seul.
When he left his country, he was on his own.
J'ai aussi trouvé mon épouse qui a aussi fui de son côté. Nous nous sommes retrouvés dans l'autre pays.
He found... Margaret was not with him, but he found her as he traveled up into another country.
Et nous nous sommes
Into
mariés
Zambia.
là-bas,
Zambia, je
en
pense.
Zambie.
Went into Zambia, and there he got reunited with Margaret.
Ah oui, à partir de l'église, puisqu'elle avait aussi 100 parents. Les parents étaient tués.
They met at the church in Zambia when her parents had been killed
Also in Congo when they fought.
and in the Congo.
Et puis, quand nous sommes arrivés en Zambie, on a trouvé des difficultés terribles là-bas, puisque
When they arrived in Zambia, they found a lot of difficulties because
les deux pays communiquent à partir de la police.
the communications between the two countries were through the police.
Si on t'arrête de l'autre côté, on peut te retourner. Si on t'arrête en Zambie, on peut te retourner au Congo.
Yeah, right. So they were unable to return to the Congo because the Congo police had been in touch with
Et
the
lorsque
Zambian police.
si tu retournes au Congo, on va t'arrêter par les services du Congo.
And if they went back to the Congo, they would be arrested.
Et puis j'étais victime plusieurs fois, j'étais arrêté.
He was arrested a lot of times in Zambia.
Mais heureusement, Dieu a aidé, on ne m'avait pas déporté.
Unfortunately, he was able to escape deportation from Zambia.
Et puis plusieurs fois, j'ai laissé mon épouse seule à la maison.
He had to leave Margaret a lot of times alone
Avec
at
les
her
enfants.
house with the children.
Lorsque un jour on est venu, nous prions comme nous prions ici.
One day they were praying together, just like we're praying here
Nous
today.
avons vu la police dehors et les agents d'immigration.
The police were outside, police and immigration officers and the Zambian government were outside the church. They saw them.
Ils ont dit que nous sommes venus voir vos papiers. Vous avez quel papier ici?
They asked to see their papers.
Lorsque nous montrons les papiers des réfugiés, ils disent non, pas ça, nous ne voulons pas ça.
When they saw that they only had the papers certifying they're refugees, they said, no, that's not what we want.
Et nous étions arrêtés, nous étions mis en prison.
They were arrested. Margaret also?
Margaret, on l'avait laissé pour le bébé, puisqu'elle avait le bébé.
Okay. They were arrested and they were thrown into prison.
Comme Margaret avait le bébé, on l'avait laissé.
Oh, not Margaret, because she had the baby, they let her go.
Et puis, on a vécu des situations pareilles. La seule chose que je peux dire, votre argent, votre contribution nous a beaucoup aidés.
What he's saying is that your help, your assistance, and so on has helped them a great deal since they arrived in Canada.
Ça nous a beaucoup aidés, vraiment. Nous avons trouvé les nouveaux parents.
They found here in Canada new parents, like Pat,
Et Roy, yeah.
this guy here,
Nous avons les sœurs comme Sarah.
and Sarah, another member of the Interchurch
Nous avons
Refugee Group.
une nouvelle famille au Canada.
They have a new family in Canada,
Je
for which
vous
they are very grateful.
remercie pour votre contribution, ce que vous avez fait pour les réfugiés.
They thank you very much for what you've done for refugees.
C'était trop grand pour notre vie.
It's a great thing in their life that what has happened since they came to Canada and they became involved with the Interchurch Refugee Group.
Je vous remercie.
They thank you. Margaret would like to say a few words. You can say
But she'll speak in Swahili.
Kile nitafuta kusema,
What I want to say,
mimi anza kutafutaka amour ya ba mama na baba.
what I wanted to find in my life was that love, that affection from the parents
Mimi sikupataki.
I didn't have.
Pale nilikuyomo,
But when I came here,
nilipata kwa pati.
I found it to part. Okay.
that's enough.
Thank you, Roy, for the presentation, and welcome to Margaret and Bernard. Thank you so much. That's made. I think it's brought home to all of us having you here. I'm just so honored to have you here, and your words are so powerful. Thank you so much for joining us today.